How many crowds did you kill, Mr. Wade?
Oh, yeah, I was not ready for that. Just like they weren't at the beaches. Hey!
I'm Dunkirk.
The enemy tanks have stopped.
Why?
Why waste precious tanks when they can pick us off from the air like fish in a barrel?
There are 400,000 men on this beach.
So we just came back from the beaches of Dunkirk. Frankly, I thought the movie was pretty close to perfect. As close as a war movie could get, I guess. It was about 1/5 glory and 4/5 horrors of war.
Yeah.
It didn't spend too much time glorifying these like war heroes. It was about a bunch of nobodies. And in fact, you barely know the names of three-quarters of the characters.
Hardly any of them.
Yeah, and I thought it was great. It was much more a harrowing film than a heroic film.
Yeah.
And then from a filmmaking perspective, I thought it was really well done. Like, technically speaking, I basically have no complaints. One issue with how different the color treatment was.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, like they would switch between IMAX and the regular format, and the regular format was a lot more heavily contrasted.
Yeah.
The colors were more saturated. It was really weird. Felt like a mistake.
Shot to shot, it would be normal looking and then oversaturated,
Yeah.
and then normal looking again, and then oversaturated again.
And I know there were some issues with the bassiness you were mentioning, and
Yeah.
I totally see where you're coming from, because there was a lot of bass through the movie.
Up until the last 2 minutes of the film, there's a constant, unrelenting bass hum.
Right.
That intensifies and detensifies, but it's always there right up until the very, very end.
Right.
All of your organs shake whenever anything loud happens, and most of the movie's loud.
Is loud.
You're weekend sailors, not the bloody Navy. You should be at home.
So I know it caused a lot of issues in terms of like understanding the hell people were saying for you. I didn't have that issue myself. I just feel like people should know if they're planning on watching it in IMAX. But on the note of the sound, though, I do want to say I felt like the score and just like the thumpiness of the guns and everything, it was so well done in that it took control of my heart rate.
We shall never surrender. We shall never surrender. We shall never surrender.
I wasn't just exhilarated by the movie's action sequences because they were cool, but my heart rate was picking up with the action sequences and slowing down in the calm scenes, and not many movies accomplish that with music. Baby Driver did a great job with music, but in a completely different style,
not
obviously.
at all the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Tequila!
The gun jamming and stuff, there was so much tension, and even like the flyers that were falling down, like "We have you surrounded," that's all in the trailer as well. But like I thought that was just so nicely done, just the nice little details. The movie apparently was 70% shot in IMAX.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and that's a lot of IMAX. And IMAX cameras are massive. They're
Oh, yeah.
still super heavy.
Yeah.
But they were doing handheld shots with IMAX. They were attaching IMAX cameras to planes for the dogfighting sequences. Like a lot of the effects were practical effects.
Oh, you could tell.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell. And that's why I really wanted to watch this in IMAX, because it was sort of built for the format, and the compositionally you could also tell like a lot of the shots were composed for the bigger, like the taller screen.
Yeah.
The movie itself, from like a script and story perspective, was this like constant roller coaster, and I feel like every time you hit a high point, the following dip was significantly lower than the previous dip. Like it just kept getting shittier and shittier.
Yeah.
And the action was great as well. Like it wasn't obnoxious, it wasn't overbearing.
Yeah.
I think people like that.
A lot of the action was even off screen. I loved having the opening sequences. There was a lot of artillery fire coming in, and you didn't know where it was coming from. It felt nice and tense.
Oh, yeah, extremely tense. You feel completely immersed in every situation, and then when they get out of the situation, you kind of breathe a sigh of relief.
Exactly. Yeah, like you would just exhale, you calm down, you realize my legs are cramping up. Yeah. But that's my opinion. What did you think?
I thought the Dunkirk was a really great, excellently made and put together movie that I did not really like.
Fair enough.
And I don't know, I think maybe I just don't really like war movies all that much.
Okay.
It's just not my cup of tea.
Do you think it's because war movies typically don't have a protagonist. You're not following a hero's success or demise.
That might be part of it, yeah. You don't really get to know really any of the characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit with like Mark Rylance and the two boys on the boat, but you know, apart from that, not really.
That's very true.
And so I'm thinking maybe that might just be where the disconnect is for me.
War movies typically are about like brotherhood and, you know, sticking together through adversity. Right. Most movies you have someone you're following, or it's a popcorn flick. War movies, people.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Whoa.
I thought the time differential was super neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it took me a minute to figure out what was going on there, but it clicked fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think the first time I was a little bit like, but the time zones are so similar. How could it be so? And then you're like, oh.
It's basically, and this is all set up in the first 30 seconds of the movie. These 3 different stories that are cut together simultaneously playing out. However, one of them takes place over the course of a week, one of them takes place over the course of a day, and one of them takes place over the course of just about an hour.
Yeah.
And the way that those were all edited together in terms of the rising and falling action, stuff will happen like Tom Hardy is in an airplane for the whole movie.
Right.
And you'll see Tom Hardy looking out the side of his plane and you'll see a boat blow up and a bunch of guys jump out of it. And then 20 minutes later, you'll see that happen from the perspective of the guys on the boat seeing the plane fly overhead.
Right, yeah.
So it was very clever in that way, and I appreciate details like that. And Christopher Nolan has always been a filmmaker who's very good at doing that kind of stuff.
Very true.
I thought Cillian Murphy was really great. He played a soldier with PTSD or shell shock.
Yeah.
His performance was probably the only one that I really kind of latched onto.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going back. If we go there, we'll die. There's no hiding from this, son. We have a job to do. Turn it around!
Tom Hardy likes his masks.
Yeah, and Nolan likes his Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Nolan likes to brown paper bag Tom Hardy.
I will shoot down the enemy planes.
He's heroic in a sort of a general sense.
Yeah, it wasn't an arc that we were developing.
Yeah.
It was just, this man is this. Yeah.
Now what's the next step of your master plan?
Crashing this plane.
Double thumbs up, super recommend. I thought it was excellent.
Do go see it. It is a very, very well-made movie. Thank you very much for watching Bull Session.
This was Bull Session indeed.
Yep. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Check us out on Instagram and on Twitter. Please watch some of these other videos as well if you enjoyed this one. And we'll see you next week.
Cheerio, Pip Pop.